If you're watching this video, you're probably headed to the Gorge this summer, or you're at least considering it, and you're in the right place. I'll tell you exactly how much it costs for a 3-day camping festival at the Gorge. So, I actually camped for the first time at a festival in 2018 during Coachella, and my famous last words were, "I'm never camping again." And fast forward 4 years later, I camped again at the Gorge in 2022. And why, you may ask? I wasn't pressured into doing it or anything, but it truly is the most cost-effective and authentic way of experiencing the Gorge, which has been a bucket list item of mine for a while. And with that, here's a brief introduction of the Gorge for those who have not heard about this venue. The Gorge is an iconic, if not one of the most famous outdoor concert venues in the world. Currently operated by Live Nation, its formation actually happened tens of millions of years ago due to volcanic activity in the Columbia Basin. And since it is a 2.5-hour drive east from Seattle, it is important to plan ahead for this trip. The first thing we paid for were our flights from New York to Seattle, which were around $400 round trip. Keeping in mind this was during peak travel season in the middle of July. The second biggest expense was our rental car from the Seattle airport to drive to the Gorge and also host our belongings for our camping trip. So we only flew in with some of our smaller camping equipment items, and luckily enough, I was put in touch with a friend of a friend who lended us some of the bigger items, such as the tent and canopy in Seattle. And the total cost split between two people was around $300. For entry to the festival, it was $150 per person, with $200 for camping at the Gold RV spot, and another $50 processing fees involved. And that totals to $400 per person. And I know what you were thinking, that's pretty expensive for a camping experience. And that's because there are only two of us to share that same slot, but if you had 6 people to share, it would actually come down to a much lower and reasonable price. There were several camping options on site, including the Standard, Premier, Terrace, Gold RV, and Gold RV 30 and 50 amp sites. We chose the Gold RV option, and here's why. The reason it is worth the premium is that it is closer to the festival grounds, meaning less walking, and after a long day of a music festival, the last thing you want to do is to walk more. On our second night there, we went to visit our friends in the general camping area, and it was quite a trek of about 15 minutes each way, and that was honestly a major selling point for us. And the second reason why is because it comes with full functioning showers and bathrooms, and they were significantly better than the ones at Coachella. However, the lines do get pretty long, so you just have to be strategic about when to go. And the third reason why is simply because there was more allotted space for each camping group. Number 4, there was less foot traffic, and so it wasn't as loud or as chaotic as the general camping area. And finally, number 5, being close to the general store where you may need to be fighting for some last-minute supplies, so the Gold RV definitely has that advantage. And now the disadvantages of staying at the Gold RV camping site. Number 1, it was far from the afters, meaning the stages that played after the official times of the festival. The second disadvantage was there were no food vendors in the Gold RV camping area, so you'd either have to eat on the festival grounds or trek to the general camping area. And finally, of course, the price tag. It comes at about $200 more than the standard tier, but I definitely think it was worth every penny. The first tip is how to maximize your viewing experiences at the Gorge. During the day, you're going to want to conserve as much energy as possible, as it does get pretty hot there, and you still have a long day ahead of you. If you're feeling adventurous, definitely check out this little terrace tucked away behind the amphitheater at the bottom of the slope, where you'll get to see the Gorge from a very clear bird's-eye view. One of my favorite memories was looking at the Gorge during sunset on my way up and down the hill. Definitely recommend pausing and taking a look at the sunset when it happens, because it is truly one of the most breathtaking moments I have ever experienced in my life. And then when the sun sets, try and walk your way into the crowd through the sidelines instead of wading through the crowd, because the energy is the best there and you don't want to be disrupting it by pushing your way through the crowd. It got pretty hot at the Gorge, so you definitely would want to bring a cooler or a fan to help with the heat. There is an actual on-site solution for this. There is a general store in the campsite area where you literally can physically walk into the fridge and cool down your temperature before you head back out. We also did bring a Camelback to refill our water at the water stations for free across the festival grounds. The food options there were pretty great. Liquid Death was around $6, an acai bowl was around $10, and there were also options from John and Vinny's, which was around $20, and some teriyaki bowls for also around $16, which I think were pretty fairly priced, but again, we were in the middle of nowhere, so things tended to be a little more inflated. And finally, some lessons we learned from this festival experience is to definitely rent and borrow before you actually go and buy the equipment. And of course, to go in a bigger group if possible for cost efficiencies. I hope this video was helpful and that you will make the most of your trip at the Gorge with all of these tips and tricks I've shared with you in this video. Bye!